Day 17 and 18 of the renovation project, and we have a wall that has been removed, opened up. So I'm going to go through in this video some costs involved with this, what it took, what's happening, what we done with the breakfast bar, how we done it basically. I've been waiting for this day and this one to see this all open plan, our kitchen diner open plan, and here we are essentially. So let's start from the beginning, shall we? So to have work like this done, it is structural work. So it's not actually an external wall, but it is essentially a load bearing wall. This was the original exterior of the house. So that's a bigger beam. There's a beam here. You can see the difference in size, but we'll talk about that shortly. So what we had to do is get calculations from a structural engineer, which we did, and they cost £320, I believe, £330. It is per calculation, and they tell you essentially what size beam you need, what it needs to sit on. We've obviously got engineering bricks. We've also got bearing plates. You can see the bearings actually, the beam is sat on a bearing plate, which is a steel plate. You can see it better here. And then it tells you the calculations, the size of the beam, the width, etc., and what you can do, how big your opening can be. So that was 330, I believe. We had the beam itself. Now this beam is actually relatively small, and it cost £200, including the bearing plates. So it wasn't too bad for the beam. I thought it was going to be more. I don't know why. The steel team in Southeast basically were really good. They delivered with a massive crane as well, and they craned the beam into the loft for the chimney removal, which I showed in the previous video, I believe, that beam. So that's where we're at with those. And then to do the actual work, I mean, I was helping all day. My wife's dad was helping. We had the builder, so it was three of us, and it took us a day really to get this down. So that's 3 days, and then we're going to have another, plasterboard, boxing in, making good, making neat is going to be another few days. So that gives you an idea on days and time. I mean, maybe around five days a week to make good. It's hard to know. Once we've done all the plasterboarding and made good, then I can give you more information about actual time it took. Now, some thoughts around things we have to do. Basically, hole in the floor. So you're going to be left with, in our case, there'll be brickwork. It depends where your brickwork finishes, but in our case, we had a hole. So you cut a new floorboard in there. But there was also, the joist didn't end there, so we extended the wood. Had to basically sort out the floor so there was solid support. So that's something that had to be done as well. So obviously more time is spent there, but happy to have that all done. The flooring's all going to get done throughout here, and it's all going to be the same. So the flooring from the hallway, we're going to have similar vinyl floor like this, a bit lighter wood, come through into the kitchen, into the dining room here. So yeah, flooring, that's what happened. You can see here we've got the tiles were just laid on MDF. So it's an old school way to do it, and yeah, it's not the strongest, but it also raises the floor height quite a bit, but that's all going to come up. So this floor height will potentially drop. We'll see to work out how that works with the cabinets, etc. Then we had, plasterboard over the tiles. So in terms of the amount of material that comes off, obviously you've got all the bricks and potentially plasterboard at each side. So here we've got essentially like a plasterboard. We had plasterboard this side as well. But what we actually had is, I can show you over here, is we had plasterboard, then we had tile. So this was an existing tile. Then over that, they had plasterboarded. They haven't done, you can't see it here because the boiler's here, so they didn't plasterboard over it. But yeah, they essentially had, so we had plasterboard, tiles, plasterboard, and then more tiles across here. So the amount of material that came off was even more because we had double plasterboard and double tiles in places. So yeah, lots and lots of material comes out. It's obviously, when it's all nice and neat in a wall, in the brick structure, it's not too bad. But as soon as you open it up, as soon as you take it all out, suddenly the pile is huge. It's the same with earth when you're digging. It's like 1 to 4, isn't it? 1 cubic meter ends up being 4 cubic meters, or 3, I can't quite remember, something like that. So that's where we're at there. We also, with the beam, I mean, the builders told me all the measurements and everything, but he measured this beam long and the beam in the loft. He measured it and he gets it long, and then he cut it down to size perfectly. So, you know, we're not trying to order the beam perfectly to size because, you know, it's hard. You can open it all up and do it, but it's better for it to be long and cut it down. If it's short, then you're screwed, aren't you? So that was a good little tip there that, well, I'm guessing he'd done it on both beams. So I'm guessing it's common practice. We've got the bearing plates, which we said. So in terms of the amount of material we removed, we got this chimney removed as well. So we went all the way up. You can still see the other beam at the very top there, the grey beam. So we've gone all the way up there. That chimney was removed. We had this wall removed, and we filled an 8-yard skip, and we also have half filled a 6-yard skip. So a 10 or 12-yard skip would probably do it. Now, skips here in southeast London are, it was £275 for a 8-yard skip, and it was 245 for a 6-yard skip. So we've done 2 of them. Granted, we chuck other stuff in as well. You know, there's other bits and bobs that's constantly getting thrown in it. So it's not just this, but that's where we're at with the skips, and we still got space in the 6-yard, which should do us now. So it's kind of like a project cost rather than a specific cost to this. But you are going to need a skip if you know it's just, and you need some strong arms to lift it all into the skip as well. What else have we got? We've got the breakfast bar. So if I explain, you can see in previous videos, what we had before, there was another cabinet here. So what essentially happens was there was one cabinet here that was a double, so 2 meters that went under there and obviously into there. So that was like this, right? As it is now. So that is a double, 1 meter cabinet. This one was also a double. So this one before it went from there over to here, and you can see where it ended before. But what we would have had then is a small walkway here, a small opening. So we asked the builder just to kind of chop up and change one of these cabinets, which he's done. And yeah, it's worked out quite well, and that gives us a much bigger opening, and we're happy with that. He said if we wanted to, we can basically get a bigger one, or we can get another 30. It depends how we feel, because this is essentially temporary. All the worktops are gonna change. So that's where we're at with the sort of breakfast bar. So yeah, we'll see how we get on, and we can change it if we like, because we're going to be changing all the worktops. The rest of the kitchen is okay, but the worktops and the sink is going to be changed, and probably the backsplash. So that'll be in future videos. And we're going to worktops by standard of 600, so 60 centimeters. So here though, we're going to get a 90 centimeter one. So that's going to come out more like to here. So this will be our breakfast bar, and that will give us the overhang that we need, and we'll have a couple of stools here, and that will be our nice little breakfast bar. We've got our table, our Urkel table, which is going to go over here, and that is going to be in the dining room. We've also got the bathroom is obviously got a bathroom. The WC, the cloakroom WC is going here. So that's going to be 1.8 meters. So from here, you can see the toilet waste is there. So that's going to be here, and it's going to go to that wall. So it'll be a square here. So that's going to take that out. We've got the pipes on the wall, obviously ready for the sink as well. So that section there, you know, will be a toilet. Then behind the toilet, so it's going to be, we're thinking full height cabinets built in, like a storage, you know, for Hoover, ironing board, things that are full length that you want hidden, but you never got anywhere to put them. So that's it, yeah. So 1.8. So from there to there, we can have those cabinets if we want. So yeah, stay tuned, because this is happening next week. I think all the stud work's going in, but more on that. We've got stud work, soundproof insulation, all that sort of good stuff to form the toilet. And there's still, yeah, dust. I mean, dust is everywhere. You can try and contain it as best you can. We've got these sheets, and we had a big polythene 500 gram, I don't know what is the details of it, but it went across here. We taped it down there, down here. We put a bit of wood across the floor there. We taped it against that wall there and across the top. And we did tape it with duct tape as well. It was fully sealed because, I mean, there's more dust here now because you can see it. But before, I mean, when we cut this hole with the petrol grinder, I mean, dust was everywhere. This was thick. This has all been cleaned once already, and then this is just sort of residual dirt from doing other bits and bobs. So it is very, very dusty work. I mean, at some point, I guess you just accept it and then clean after and just try and cover the things you don't want too dusty.